Like my Joe Biden moment from yesterday. Right in my ear today. Where I'm mumbling and fumbling and not really forming cogent. That's the way I react to nice things, by the way. That was yesterday.
That what it is?
Yes, that's the way I react to nice things. I sound like Joe Biden. It's 12:05, almost 12:06, and a good afternoon. May I be the first to say Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Oh, I forgot. Hold on. I got to get this in.
It's Friday Eve.
Oh, my God.
All
You know what?
day long
I have something,
on the Matt Murphy Show.
I have something for you and all of you Friday Eve people in just a moment on that front. Give us a call, 615-737-9986. It's the big pre-birthday celebration of the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. If I do say so myself, it's Thursday, August 31. The final day of August will be to September before you know it, and September 1 is my birthday. I will not be here for reasons that I will explain to you maybe a little bit later on in the show because I'm very excited about the reason that I will not be here. It's our episode 411 on these airwaves. Don't forget, you can find us on a variety of platforms. You can check us out on the radio airwaves, 99.7 on your FM dial, 100,000 watts of blowtorch power from southern Kentucky all throughout Tennessee and northern Alabama. You can also find us on a variety of internet streaming platforms. Basically, anywhere you stream audio on the internet, you can find us. Just type in Supertalk 99.7 WTN. You can watch the radio show on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. You do so by going to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and typing in Supertalk 99.7 WTN. And may I ask that you like and subscribe when you watch the YouTube channel or when you watch on the, I don't know if you can do that on the Facebook side of things or how you would do that on the Twitter or the, I'll be honest, I've never been on the Twitch. Have you been on the Twitch?
Yes.
Is it called the Twitch?
Yes. I use it for gaming.
Do you now?
Yeah.
What is Twitch like? I mean, is it a audio video platform?
It's almost, for the way I use it, it's almost like YouTube where I get a notification that somebody's broadcasting and I go and I watch the video as it's streaming or as it's been posted.
Yeah, okay. I need to go over to the Twitch. Twitch is used a lot for gaming.
Yes.
Okay. Is it like it's not Discord. Discord's different. Discord is an audio platform to supplement a gaming platform, right?
Discord's video too.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you learn something new every day. Now, here on the Friday Eve front, Jay Sinclair will be here today, by the way, because we're not here tomorrow, and so it's a First Amendment Freestyle Friday on Thursday on Super Talk 99.7 WTN and the Matt Murphy Show. So we'll have Jay Sinclair here at around 1 o'clock. He'll answer your legal questions. He'll offer some legal thoughts on the 5,400 emails that have been apparently stored at the National Archives under different names that originated from Joe Biden. We'll talk with him about that. And we'll also talk to Jay broadly about your First Amendment rights. And I hope that every Democrat that caused a ruckus down there in the special session, I expect that you will tune in at 1:05 today and listen to some learning. Because your First Amendment rights are not sacrosanct in as much as time, place, and manner matter with regard to the First Amendment, even when dealing with the government. We will discuss with Jay Sinclair coming up at 1:05 this afternoon. A couple of other guests to throw in there, and we'll tell you about those folks as they pop up. Now, I've decided you people like Dan Mandis of Nashville's Morning News and Johnny B., executive producer of Nashville's Morning News, that facilitates Mandis in his desire to promote this Friday Eve garbage. And you, Bel K, you, Benedict Arnold, turning on me, your faithful companion in the afternoons from noon until 3. Every week you turn your back on me. No, it's worse. Every week you stab me in the back.
It's Friday Eve.
Mm-hmm. Just like that. Well, y'all have your fun. You say Friday Eve till your heart's content, but just know something. I want you to know this, and I want you to think of it every time you hear Friday Eve. Every time someone utters it out of their lips, every time you see it on your television screens or whatever, Thursday is a perfectly serviceable way to identify this day. But
it's Friday Eve.
Y'all do you, but know this. Every time you hear the word Friday Eve or the words Friday Eve, a puppy dies, okay?
Yeah, but there's a flaw in that.
Every time every time you hear Friday Eve, a puppy dies.
Yeah, but there's a flaw in that.
What's the flaw?
I'm a cat guy. The hell with your puppies.
Well, that's just mean. That's part of what's wrong with you.
I'm sure it is.
That's part of what's wrong. That's not all of it.
That's the big problem.
That's the big thing, that you like cats. There's like 4 pages of things wrong with you before we get to the cat problem. Although
I don't think I can argue that.
I wish you were not. This is Headless Bell, so Headless Bell doesn't make an appearance on the television side of things. By the way, how's my camera look? Mandis's camera looked awful this morning, I noticed.
Top of your head's cut off a little bit.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Is that better?
Oh, that's much better.
Thank you. I noticed I was watching, I happened to be watching this morning, the cross between Mandis and Chris Hand as Chris Hand was coming in for the gang of 28 amigos. It used to be the gang of 3 amigos, and now, much like the United States of America, we got more amigos than we can shake a stick at every morning on Astros Morning News. But, Mandis was kind of cut off, and then Hand's head was cut off, too. So I wanted to text him, but I decided, you know what, they'll figure it out.
Much like the border, the control room door or the host room door is unprotected.
Well, that's right. I was like Joe Biden. This morning, I was like Joe Biden on the border. I was like, you know what? I could do something about this, but I'm going to decide not to. It'll work itself out. Speaking of border security, Eric Adams is receiving a dose of reality in New York City with regard to the southern border and the fact that New York City has declared itself a sanctuary city. We will discuss this subject as time allows over the course of the broadcast today. I mentioned, we talked about this yesterday on the show, and I've had opportunity to reflect on it further, and I'm curious your thoughts about it, whether it's on Super Text or on the talk line, 615-737-9986. We will not see action on age restrictions with regard to public service unless we demand it. The politicians are not going to initiate this themselves because, sadly, the politicians have become largely Washingtonized, even the good ones. Rare is the case that you do not see a politician, even the good ones, go to Washington, D.C., and then become so self-important that they believe that Washington, D.C., and by extension, the United States of America cannot function without them. And so why wouldn't they stay there for the rest of their lives? Particularly if the voters keep voting for them because of the power of the incumbency, the power of the purse that comes with the power of the incumbency. So we all have heard of, or you've heard the audio of, or you've seen the video of Mitch McConnell freezing for a second time, seemingly unable to understand language being said to him or being able to move. Mitch McConnell is 81 years of age. Dianne Feinstein, forget her politics for a moment. As a human being, I feel sad for her because she doesn't know where she is half of the time because of her age. Joe Biden, we have seen noticeable decline. We saw noticeable decline in 2019. You know, when Joe came out of the woodwork and decided he was going to run for president of the United States again, we all kind of laughed it off. This guy's time has gone. He is past the winter season of his public service. He's old, we said. And thankfully for COVID, they were able to hide him in the basement. He did not have to get out and endure the rigors of a political campaign. And, you know, that and a little cheating, and look what it got you.
Give me a break.
Well, I'm not going to give you a break. You don't deserve a break. Today or any other day. And it begs the question, can we not broach this as a general public and demand of our politicians that we get better? There's too much power in the incumbency, particularly of senators. I don't know what to do about that, except to put age restrictions on the top end as we do on the bottom end. And as we discussed yesterday, it's going to take us to do it. Now, you see example after example in the House of Representatives. We don't notice it as much in the House because there are 435 of them. And so the elderly kind of blend in. And you don't see so much focus on seniority in the House of Representatives as you do in the United States Senate. As much as I like Chuck Grassley has lost a step. Now, he's not lost what Feinstein or Mitch McConnell has lost. This is not a partisan position. It's for the betterment of the United States of America. Now, where you put that upper age restriction is up to you. I think it should be 75. And yes, I know who that would include. But I still think it should be 75. 615-737-9986. If you have any thoughts on that, I am welcome and open for other thoughts. Now, a quick moment recapping certain aspects of the special legislative session that is now no more. These political Democrats, I went from being infuriated that they would lie to the people of the state of Tennessee in the manner that they did to be absolutely amused at all of this. They cannot let go the idea that Cameron Sexton, the Speaker of the House, bumped into Justin Pearson because he was pushed from behind by his security protocol, and Justin Pearson started screaming that he had been assaulted on the floor of the House of Representatives. And they continue to play this video as if it's some horrible, awful, horrendous, horrific evil committed by the Speaker of the House, and they just look foolish in doing so. How dumb do these people think we are? Gloria Johnson out and out lied about her situation down at the on the floor of the House of Representatives, and we caught her on it, found the video, brought the receipts, and she's gone radio silent on what she said was an attempt by Representative Scott Sapicki and Monty Fritz to prevent her from leaving the body. Oh, they tried to prevent me, and I screamed at them and yelled at them, and they told me no. None of which happened. Nothing. None of it. Similarly, Pearson's running around threatening to press charges against Cameron Sexton, which I say, bring it on. And then there's this regarding the special session. Cameron Sexton, the Speaker of the House, I think is making a mistake by asking the judge, the Chancery judge, to drop the ACLU's lawsuit against the state of Tennessee with regard to the sign issue. And I just closed out my story on this, so I'll do it from memory. So the Rules Committee in the House of Representatives, I'll try to make this quick. The Rules Committee in the House of Representatives passed additional rules for the special session. One of those additional rules for the special session involved signage. Up until this special session, the Tennessee Senate and the Tennessee House of Representatives would allow 8x11 or normal notebook paper-sized signage to be allowed into the gallery for the general public to express their feelings on, whatever they wanted to express their feelings on. So you're allowed an 8x11 piece of paper, and you can write whatever you want to. I assume that there are some rules that it cannot be profane. That said, and you hold it up to your chest. You can't hold it above your head, because if you hold it above your head, you're blocking the view of the person behind you. So you're allowed to hold it above you're allowed to hold it in front of your chest silently. The Senate did not change their rules during the special session. The House of Representatives did. I've said from the beginning on this that it is one thing to tell me that something is a good idea or a bad idea. It's another thing to tell me that it is illegal. And that was what the Democrats were screaming about, that this was illegal. It was a breach of the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America, which is absurd. Well, the Democrats convinced the ACLU to file suit in a friendly court and prevent the signage rule from being in place toward the end of the special session of the Tennessee General Assembly special session. So that lawsuit still exists. And now the Speaker of the House is asking for a dismissal of the lawsuit because the special session is over. And I think this is a mistake. I think you need to set the precedent down that you, in fact, do not have an inherent right to make a speech in the gallery of the House of Representatives in the state of Tennessee. You're there to observe the proceedings. Now, once again, I'm not saying that it's a good idea to limit this. I think it's a bad PR move. But any suggestion that it is illegal is absurd, especially considering the House of Representatives in the United States Congress does not permit signs because of the time, place, and manner restriction on your First Amendment rights. I would prefer to see Speaker of the House Cameron Sexton and other leadership in the House of Representatives bring this case to its natural conclusion to set the precedent that no, you don't have the right to hold a sign. You don't have a right to make a statement. We're going to allow you to do those things out of a deference to the people of the state of Tennessee, but let's not get crazy and suggest that you as a gallery member have some sort of inherent right. I mean, what would happen if a gallery member stood up and started making a speech? And tell me how fundamentally holding a sign is different than making a speech, outside of the fact that it blocks the proceedings to a lesser degree, interferes with the proceedings, really doesn't interfere that much. That's why I don't draw the line there, by the way, because I don't think you're really interfering anything as long as you remain silent. 615-737-9986 on any of those fronts, just getting underway on this birthday eve. See, that's perfectly acceptable, Belle, because my birthday comes once a year, much like Christmas.
It's Friday Eve.
Friday comes once a week. There's no need for that nonsense. And
It's Friday Eve.
Two puppies just died because of you, pal. Those puppies are on your soul. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You know, fall's not here, but it's right around the corner. And with that comes the fall football special from Nashville Painting Company. It is a fall special with 20% off of all exterior projects right now, plus color consultation. Let's talk about it. Well, nothing says fall like friends and family coming over for a little football and getting ready. Not just for the big game, but also getting ready for the holiday season that comes right around the corner. We want to make sure that your house is at the top of the power rankings in your neighborhood. And through September, you can save 20% off all exterior projects and get a free color consultation no matter what you need to get your home ready for the fall and into the holidays. They've got you covered at Nashville Painting Company. I know Jeremy. I know his team. They're so good at what they do. They painted my home, and they can paint yours as well. Go to NashvillePaintingCompany.com online. That's NashvillePaintingCompany.com, the easy way to schedule your home consultation today, which is absolutely free to you. Also, you can call Nashville Painting Company. They're the painters you can trust. 615-635-0350. 635-0350. Call today, Nashville Painting Company. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, the Matt Murphy Show in progress. Thank you for being a part of it. Whatever amount of time you're able to give us, I'm appreciative, whether it's 5 minutes or the full 3 hours. We're on from noon until 3, Monday through Friday on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I mentioned it's episode 411. It is our birthday eve episode. I'm out tomorrow, and I'm out next week. Obviously, all of us are done for Labor Day, and so you'll hear some, what we hope to be, quote-unquote, best of programming. And Pamela Furr will be in for me tomorrow and for the remainder of next week. I'm going on a bit of a motorcycle journey. Originally the plan was to get out of here bright and early tomorrow morning. But I got rebuked quite soundly regarding that action plan, considering that it's my 50th birthday. By E.
Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't care for that. So I think 2,700 miles round trip on my motorcycle to South Dakota is a little ambitious for a week. Even if you add the weekends, you need a little more time. So we decided to, we're going to do Natchez Trace. I can't tell you how excited I am. We'll start at Loveless. We'll eat at Loveless. Even with my...
Have you not taken him there before?
No.
Okay.
No. Have you? You've been, right?
Yeah.
Got to stay away.
But the services was just
tip
amazing.
top. The atmosphere. I mean, it's all good, and just the history of it and how it was born out of. I mean, I love everything about it. I just have to stay away from the biscuits, man. You
like the ham?
Well,
stuff was salty.
There's a lot. Yes, I like the ham, but there's a lot to like at Loveless. But the biscuits are really, really good, and I can't have the carbs, man. They'll kill you.
And you can't just have a biscuit. It's I need the whole basket of biscuits.
Bring a whole basket up for you, and it'd be rude not to eat the entire basket. So, very excited about that. Let's get to a few telephone calls as we get this show lumbering under its own weight. Paul is first.
Brazil or false arrest me order psych exam. He says when you get to the hospital, we won't even treat you for the flu or your current health condition.
Hey, Paul.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Who are you talking
I saw
to?
Doug Sattel.
Yeah. There. Hey, Paul, go pound sand, buddy. Go finish up. That's the guy that does the national talking points, and he runs around and calls every radio show known to man, and he's apparently on another. I mean, that person, by the way, that you just heard is mentally insane. That person is mentally insane.
They definitely need professional help.
They need help.
The good news is I was thinking when I heard the voice that it might be him, so I'm starting to recognize it, and I'll be able to screen him out in the future once I get it down a little more.
I'm more sad than anything. I mean, he I don't know what he thinks he's accomplishing by what he does, but he's been doing what he does for like 20 years.
I don't think he considers that he's accomplishing anything, and this is just the way he lives now.
Yeah, for those that don't understand, Paul, I don't know where Paul lives, but Paul calls. His
real name is Doug Sattel.
What?
His real name is Doug Sattel.
Really?
Yes.
There you go.
If you look at his Facebook page or his YouTube page,
that
makes
psycho.
That makes what we just heard sound sane.
Yeah, and he calls. He's a seminar caller. Limbaugh used to call them seminar callers. He's a seminar caller, and he calls. Just he's got a Rolodex, and he calls various radio stations. He used to call me in Birmingham. I'm certain that the great Phil Valentine got calls from him. I'm certain Brian Wilson's gotten calls from him. Yeah, so I mean, this guy's kind of weird. Dean, hopefully we'll get to some real conversation with you. Hey, Dean, how are you?
Good. Hey, Matt, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. What's on your mind?
I would say that I disagree with the age, going at the limitations for age. It just seems like it would be hard to do. And my other point with that is Fetterman's not 70 or 80 years old, and that's a problem. I'm 100% for term limits. I think that would just solve it the best way possible. And to go along that idea, we already enforce term limits with the president, so it's not unheard of. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, there was a time where I would have said, well, we have term limits. It's called voting. But the power of the incumbency has never been greater than it is nowadays, especially with the amount of money being raised by incumbent candidates. So I would agree with you. It is a difficult lift in as much as you have to get the guys that are going to be term limited to vote for term limits in Congress. So we would have to see a groundswell of support all across the United States of America that the type of which we've not seen since, gosh, at least 2008 with the Tea Party movement, and it would probably need to be greater than that. But I would be all about it. I don't have a problem with term limits in the way that I used to. Put it that way. As far as age restrictions go, I don't know that it would be that heavy of a lift, probably as heavy as term limits, but that heavy of a lift in terms of doing it, because we already put a minimum age requirement on public service. You have to be 25 to serve in the House of Representatives. You have to be 30 to serve in the Senate. You have to be 35 to be president of the United States. So if we're willing to put minimum age boundaries on it, then I don't think it would be too much to ask to put maximum age boundaries on it.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, Dean, and I appreciate your thoughts regarding term limits. I'm right there with you. How you functionally accomplish that with the ensconced bureaucracy and the Washingtonized politicians, that's a little bit of a different conversation. It's 12:32, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Efficient heating and cooling recognizes we're in that zone. Jeff Eddy knows that we're in the zone of you're still using your AC, but here's Matt Murphy telling you you need to get your heater checked. And I know you scratch your head and think, well, Murphy, it's getting up to 80 degrees today or 83 or whatever it is. Why in the world are you talking about the heater? Because you know the transition as well as I do. And I've learned it over the 2 years that I've been in Tennessee during the wintertime months, that the transition happens at some point in September. It's going to get chilly enough. Man, it felt good this morning, but chilly enough where you might think about popping that heater on. Now, if you do that before you get it maintenance, you might smell that smell. You know what smell I'm talking about. It's the smell of not making the call to Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling and getting something done about that heating element, making sure that they clean it, they maintenance it, and they can make sure that it's running as it should. You get your car maintenance, to get your body maintenance, you need to get your heater and your AC maintenance as well. So call Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling. If your heater's not ready, call Jeff Eddy. EfficientHVAC.net or 615-784-4424, 784-4424 for Efficient Heating and Cooling. Super Talk 99.7 WTN 1237. Our good friend and legal expert Jay Sinclair at 1 o'clock today. He will answer your legal questions. If you have them, super text them to me. I will put them in a little pile, and we will get to each of them during the 1 o'clock hour. Coming up in the 2 o'clock hour, Jason Barrett, who is a part of Barrett News Media, holding a conference coming up in September and offering college students a special opportunity to be a part of that conference. Those of you who are considering, if you have a college-age student and you are considering communications as something that you're looking to go into, you want to listen up in the 2 o'clock hour. Jason Barrett will be here with us via telephone at that time. You on the phones as well, as it's a First Amendment Freestyle Friday on Thursday on The Murphy Show, as I'm not here tomorrow for my birthday. Linda is next up in Unionville. Hey, Linda, how are you?
I'm well. Wow, what an honor to speak with you.
Well, thank you.
Okay, so this great-grandma needs to give you a couple of what-fors. Number one, you guys got to stop this ridiculous Friday, Thursday evening. It is just ridiculous. So no puppies
It's
are dying.
Friday Eve.
You need to put it to rest. Number two, and
Wait,
I just got.
hey, hold on. Can I ask you
Okay.
a question about that? So
Yes.
when you say put it to rest, you mean that we just call today Thursday and be done with
Just
it?
stop it. Just call it Thursday, for heaven's
It's
sake.
that's-
Friday
stop.
Eve.
Thursday,
Bell,
Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
Please
Monday,
stop.
Tuesday, Wednesday.
Please stop. I'm telling Bell to stop for you, Linda. I'm right there with
Please.
you.
Thank you.
That's been my position the entire time. Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
All right.
thank you. Okay, number two. I'm asking, are these Hey Dudes made in America? They're beautiful. I'm just wondering where they're made.
You know, I don't know that I checked.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh no.
Let me tell you a quick story. Again, we just rented a U-Haul and we're in Unionville, about just south of Nashville. Went over to Knoxville with a U-Haul to pick up furniture that we couldn't find around here that was made in America. I mean, we're so into that. So you got to promote that. And number three, again, just a quickie. My granddaughter came down from upstate New York, near the Canadian border, brought her wedding party, a once-in-a-lifetime experience, to Nashville, and did the wedding party thing. And they were treated with such respect. They had such a good time. It was just, from beginning to end, it was such a wonderful experience. And I tried to do some research, couldn't find it, but I think these little wedding parties are bringing, I remember reading someplace that they were bringing in about $40 million a year to the tourism. So, again, it's something that, wonderful experience. It was, so I think we need to lighten up on all these wedding parties that are coming into town.
Well, I mean, I'm not against the wedding parties coming into town. I have experienced some of these bachelorette parties, particularly where, sadly, the bachelorettes in question, they drink way too much alcohol.
There are some.
They think they think the city owes them a good time, without regard for. I mean, they're good and bad. I mean, obviously, I'm throwing a wet blanket over everyone, and maybe I shouldn't do that, because I'm certain that there are many wedding parties that come into the community that mind their manners and have a great time, and the people around them have a great time as well. So
they do. Well, thank you, Matt.
Well, thank you very
Nice
much,
to
Ms.
talk to
Lynn. I appreciate you calling.
Have a wonderful birthday and stay safe.
We'll try to do so. Linda, you've ruined my birthday already. Well, she has. It's true. She hasn't, actually. I take that back. But I will say, in the course of that telephone call, you reminded me of something I did not do yesterday. And I've tried to be better about it. When I shop for clothing, whether it's online or in person.
Oh, the shoes were made in China.
They're made in China.
Yeah.
And now I don't know what to do.
Well, you might as well wear them because you've already spent the money.
I didn't look, and I'm trying to be better about looking. And the weird thing is, before I got to the Hey Dude section, I was looking. Like, I looked at a couple of different shoes and saw they were made in China, but for some reason I don't know what it was, but mentally, the Hey Dude brand, I automatically assumed that it was American. I don't know why. They had a couple of nice pairs of shoes. If they had them in my size, I would have bought them that had like American flags on them.
So you didn't see the Hey Dudes and go, oh, those are cool, and forget to check it? Like, did you get excited about what you saw?
Yeah. And I tried on a couple of pairs. Oh, these are cool. These look good. Oh, I think I'm going to get these. I've never heard of them. I felt so cool. I felt...
well, you don't normally associate dude with the Chinese. They don't say that a lot.
That's what I thought. So now I've got to burn my Hey Dudes.
No, you've already spent the money. It's not going to do you any good to burn them. Just got to be more cognizant in the future.
Well, Chris Hand has weighed in now. Would you like to know what Mr. Hand has to say about it? He says, tiny little hands made your shoe. Little.
Slave labor. Yeah, we get it.
That's awful.
It's not untrue.
Tiny little hands made my phone.
Yes.
I offer the China challenge to every single person listening to this show. And I've done it, and it's embarrassing. If we want to put our money where our mouths are with regard to the influence of the China, in all seriousness, and I'm kind of stuck with the shoes now, but I've got to be better. Linda, you're right. I've got to be better about checking my labels, and I didn't check my labels because I got excited, and for some reason, I just mentally associated Hey Dudes. I mean, the first thing I thought was The Big Lebowski. I'm a big fan of The Big Lebowski, and the shoes kind of remind you of the dude. And I'm like, oh, isn't this cool? So there I go. But each of us individually in our own lives, just look at the amount of product that you have in your home that's made in China and recognize that we need to go anywhere and everywhere we can to find products that are made elsewhere other than China. Now, you're never going to get made in America for all of your stuff. It just, sadly, manufacturing isn't where it needs to be in the United States of America. We need to build that back up, and this is the way you do it. When you can buy American, buy American. But when you cannot buy American, particularly for clothing, it is difficult to find made in America stuff, then go anywhere else. Bangladesh, fine, whatever. India, Vietnam, it's all better than China. You are feeding the beast, and it is a beast that wants to consume us, and I know that I sound a little preachy right now, especially for a guy that's wearing Chinese shoes on his feet.
Well, the problem, though, is that even if you buy something that says made in America, it could still have Chinese parts in it.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, even American-made automobiles, for example. Yeah. Most of the parts that's a great example. Most of the parts within that automobile are made somewhere else, and they ship them over here, and then they put them together in America, and they slap a Made in America sticker on it.
You know, you could have bought those shoes that said made in America, and the shoestrings were Chinese.
It's better than what I did. Thanks, Linda. Linda made me feel bad.
It's not like you did it on purpose. You didn't throw your values out the window for a pair of shoes.
I need to check something.
The hat?
This is going to bother me. If this is, let's see where this is made.
I'll bet you money both those birthday gifts I got you were made in China.
Yeah, I bet that's true, too. Hey, wait. I can't. What is MACAU? What is that? It ain't China. Ha! My University of Georgia Bulldog hat.
Chinese university.
My University of Georgia Bulldog hat that I'm wearing in celebration of the beginning of the football season was not made in China. It was made in Macau. But in all seriousness, you do this and it will depress you. Walk through your home and turn everything over. That which you can. Identify those things that are made in China versus made in other countries. Now, there are more countries manufacturing goods than ever before in the history of mankind. However, China has a stranglehold on a lot of different categories. One of the reasons that I find it so difficult to shop on Amazon because of the amount of product being made in China that is pimped on Amazon. It's difficult.
Macau's in China.
Macau is in China. Don't tell me that. MACAU? So you know what they did?
Chinese
You know
province.
but you know what they did? You see what they did there? That's slick.
They didn't say China.
They know we've started looking, and now they're switching it up on us. Colin says, sorry, Matt. Macau is a part of China. He's telling me that, too. 7527 says, hey, dude, is an Italian company. Well, they're an Italian company with, with Chinese manufacturing. And a lot of people go to China, even if they're owned in a different part of the world. They go to China because, the little tiny hands and slave labor. I mean, I get it. Colin says it's an island off Hong Kong. Also, dude, Chinaman is not the preferred nomenclature. Asian American, please. Did I say Chinaman?
I didn't hear it.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it. And yes, 9945 says that I'm a traitor to my country because I'm wearing this hat. Oh, no. 7793 says he's switching to another radio station because I'm a traitor.
This could be your downfall. Buying those shoes could end your career.
By the way, I have it on good authority. I'm not going to name names here because this person named the name. I have it on good authority that person has a Chinese heritage. So let's just put it that way. Huh?
Wow.
If we're going to play that game, I can play that game too. John is in Nashville to talk about Made in the USA. Hey, John, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm well, man. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Well, I'll tell you, you're going to be stunned. I just bought me a Bible called We the People Bible, made in America. And I went down to Walmart and looked at getting a Bible. All of them, every one of them made in China.
Bibles?
So I had to go on Bibles. I had to go online and find me a Bible called We the People Bible. It's awesome, but the only one I could find made in America. So they're making Bibles in China, which is, I guess people buy them because they're cheap. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's cheap, almost slave-like labor. I mean, it is slave-like labor. I don't know that I would call it slave labor in as much as they do provide some amount of payment, but it is slave in the sense that, they are the communist Chinese and you got to work for the government. I mean, yeah, no, you're right, John. It's hard to find. I can't tell you the number of times I've declined buying products because you turn over the product and it says made in China. You got to move on from it. Frankly, I got tired of looking around, and when I found these Hey Dudes, I assumed that they were from a part of the world not governed by the communist Chinese. The Chinaman's not the preferred nomenclature. I completely missed that was a line from The Big Lebowski, which I just said was one of my preferred movies, and I missed dude, Chinaman's not the preferred nomenclature. It's Asian American, please. That was from Walter, who was my favorite character in The Big Lebowski. 1250 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Back in a moment. When I first came to Nashville, Tennessee, I asked around about financial planners, and Paul Winkler's name came up time and time again. I sat down with Paul, broke bread with him, and now I know him well. And I'm a client of Paul Winkler's. I've done a radio show on this station for, almost 2 years now, and I've been talking well about Paul. Paul's been doing a radio show on this radio station for about 20 years. Now, the federal regulators require me to tell you that I'm paid to talk about Paul every time this commercial airs. I'm incentivized to say nice things. Well, rules are rules. That may be the case, but I am not paid nor incentivized to be a client of Paul's, but I am because I believe in Paul's message. It's one of education. It's one of an investment education unlike anything else that I've seen. It is evidence-based and backed by Nobel Prize-winning research. I want you to call Paul for a 15-minute conversation. PaulWinkler.com online to find out more. That's PaulWinkler.com, or set up a free 15-minute telephone call right now. 615-851-1950. 615-851-1950 for Paul Winkler. PaulWinkler.com. It is 12:57, Super Talk 99.7, WTN. Matt Murphy and you until 3 o'clock. The Drive with Brian Wilson at that time. Information-fueled and opinion-driven news talk radio for the masses on Super Talk 99.7, WTN. Wayne writes in and says, regarding, we established where my hat was made. Wayne says, I'm more disgusted with that Georgia emblem on the hat than I am about where it's made. It's pretty good. Glory, glory to Georgia. Glory, glory to Georgia. And to hell with Georgia Tech. That's the song. That's what you got to sing. Robert is next in the Burr to talk shoes and pants, boots and pants and boots and pants. Hey, Robert, how are you?
Doing good. New Balance. Some of the New Balance shoes are still made in America, and Uncle Phil used to do an ad for diamond gusset jeans. They're actually made here in Tennessee. So those are two options for men anyway, and to buy things that are made here.
That's a great suggestion.
The other thing is, though, that Georgia has made in China because no self-respecting American would ever make something that ugly.
I like that. I wonder where those national championship trophies were made.
Well, that's all right. Tennessee will let you know this year. We'll send you a picture.
Thanks, Robert. I appreciate it. It's football season. It's smack talk season. I like that. No self-respected American would make Georgia gear. Yeah, he might be right. Coming up in just a moment, speaking of self-respecting Americans, his name is Jay Sinclair. He's the finest legal mind that I know, and he's here to answer your legal questions. Free legal advice is worth everything you pay for it, as Jay likes to say. And you've got some coming your way next as we celebrate a First Amendment Freestyle Friday on Thursday on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Get those questions in, 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. It's The Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, friends, let's talk about your body. I know it's a personal subject, but are you creaking or aching or hurting in places that you don't want to creak or ache or hurt? How about your knees? How you doing there? Well, if you have knee pain, and I have experienced knee pain recently, I had the old pickleball injury that I got repaired through some therapy sessions at the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief, and it's about more than just the back nowadays, boy. With my knee pain, it was not structural in nature. It was a strain. We went through some ultrasound therapy, went through some laser therapy. It's feeling so much better. If you're suffering from knee pain, they're looking for 5 individuals at the Dr. Gill Center that suffer from knee pain. And without pills and without surgery, they believe they can offer you significant pain relief over the next 30 days. What is living with knee pain costing you? What is it costing you in terms of your lifestyle? Let's eliminate that knee pain. Don't miss this opportunity. Call the Dr. Gill Center today and be one of the first 5 people to get back to a pain-free life with your knee. 615-882-4838, 882-4838, or visit them today in Franklin. It's the Dr. Gill Center for Back, Neck, and Chronic Pain Relief. Well, hello, it's the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Hour number 2 starts right now. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Pleased you've decided to join us. Whatever time you're able to give us, we're certainly appreciative of that. We've got till 3 o'clock today, and then I'm calling it a week, and I'm calling it 2 weeks, actually, now that I think of it. Birthday celebration commences at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Actually, I take that back. I have an event tonight with Americans for Prosperity at Maxwell House in Nashville. You're invited to be there, too. Obviously, it's a ticketed event, although it is free to the public, and they'll serve you dinner. You would not come for me. I understand that, although I would love to see you. Come on up and hug my neck and wish me a happy birthday, and I'll wish you a happy day right back. So we've got Congressman Andy Ogles there tonight, Congressman Mark Green there tonight, Robbie Starbuck is there tonight, Senator Jack Johnson is there tonight, amongst others. Pamela Furr's there, obviously, with Americans for Prosperity. So it's tonight. Doors open at 5:30. The program starts promptly right around 6 o'clock or thereabouts. Food will be served right around 5:30. So that's Maxwell House. You can go on the American for Prosperity website to find out more. I think it's afptnsummit.com or org. afptnsummit. I'm going to say com. I could be wrong. Let us welcome, as it is Thursday, but it is our Friday. That means it is First Amendment Freestyle Friday, and it's also Friday, ladies and gentlemen. UFOs are real.
Oh, sorry, wrong button.
Good morning, Americans. It's Friday.
What? So, the most amusing aspect of you hitting the wrong button is I didn't know that you had isolated me saying UFOs are real. See, you're putting things on the wall just to embarrass me. Out of context statements.
I'm putting things on the wall to have fun.
Out of context statement by your humble correspondent. Well, you know who else is real? Jay Sinclair. I don't know what his position is on UFOs, but I know he's a great legal mind, and he will answer any and all legal questions during this hour together. And we welcome Jay on a First Amendment Freestyle Friday on Thursday. Hello, Jay. How are you?
Hey, buddy. Man, if I were any better, I'd be my German Shepherd, Olivia.
Did she take part in doggy daycare today, Jay? I think that's right, isn't it?
Yes, she did, and she is the happiest creature that I've ever known in my life, man. You know her, you've been around her.
I know she's pretty good. I mean, I might put Mrs. Beasley right in front of her in terms of the happiest creatures on earth. Now, Larry Munson is exactly the opposite. Munson is just a Mr. Pessimist, a dog after his namesake, Larry Munson of the Georgia Bulldogs.
Yeah, that's right. He's well named. That's funny.
Well, Jay, it's a lot to get into today. I'm inviting people to call in or write in with questions, legal questions, and we'll get to those in just a moment. But I have a legal question for you.
Okay.
So tell me the manner in which I'm going to broaden this question out as best I can. I'm curious your thoughts because you teach law to young aspiring lawyers.
Right.
What do you tell them about the First Amendment when it applies to government restriction? In other words, when and how is the government able to restrict your ability to freely speak or to participate in interacting with the government? Help me understand this.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question, man. Let's start with the First Amendment, right? 50,000 feet. First Amendment says the government, well, it says Congress, but now it means the government. The government shall make no laws abridging the freedom of speech. No laws. Guess how many laws, ballot laws, the government has passed restricting the freedom of speech?
I'm going to guess none because it says no. So none.
There are hundreds of laws that restrict freedom of speech, students. So the point of this is this. No does not mean no. And that's why people don't like lawyers.
So when they say Congress shall make no law,
Right.
they don't really mean that.
They don't. Well, here's, I think, the little word game that's being played, restricting the freedom of speech. See, there's some content in what is freedom and in what was understood at the time that it was passed is, well, there are some things you can restrict. And, you know, the classic example, I've forgotten, I think it was Oliver Wendell Holmes or somebody in a case a long time ago said, well, that doesn't mean you can falsely shout fire in a crowded theater when there isn't a fire, because you're intending to do that to cause a riot and to hurt people. And so the First Amendment does not protect that. And so a lot of the First Amendment law, Matt, deals with content. You know, like that's content based, right? And you can't, you threats or and so forth. But I think what you're really talking about is the Tennessee General Assembly and their rule about no signs inside the chambers. And that's different. It's not content-based, right? No signs. Here, no signs means no signs.
Right.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what's on. And so these are called time, place, and manner restrictions. And it is permissible for the government to specify the times, place, and manner where people can use public property to speak. And three rules apply to that. First, it has to be content neutral, right? It is not dependent upon what you want to say.
Right.
All speech is prohibited. Second, it has to be narrowly tailored to serve a significant governmental interest. As narrowly tailored. And then third, it must leave open alternative channels for communicating the speaker's message. So the rule that's at issue here that I think you want to talk about is you can't bring signs into the spectator portions of the General Assembly room.
Yeah, the gallery. The gallery. Yeah,
the gallery. Yeah. It's a beautiful, beautiful Capitol there. By the way, I love that.
By the way, Jay, let's squirrel for just a second because I want to get to your analysis. But you told me how beautiful the Capitol was before I ever set foot in it. What I'm fascinated with is a Capitol that beautiful and that old. They still keep functional. I mean, they still do their business.
Still use it.
Yeah,
use it.
Yeah, it is gorgeous.
It is. It's absolutely beautiful. So it's got to be content neutral. This is clearly content neutral. Has to be narrowly tailored to serve a significant governmental interest. Pretty narrow. They're just saying don't bring any signs into the chambers, and leaves ample alternative channels for communicating. Well, my word. There's all kinds of places to spread the word you won't spread other than inside that one room. So I believe the ACLU, I understand, has filed a lawsuit over it. I think they're going to lose that lawsuit, man. Because I'm looking here at a case. We were talking about this the other day. City Council versus Taxpayers for Benson. You know, we talk about a lot of things on the golf course, in the course of 4 hours. And I remember you brought this case up and asked me what I thought about it. And this was a case where a city, it was actually Los Angeles, they passed a law that prohibited the posting of any signs on any public property.
Huh.
Any signs on any public property. And you know what they were really getting at is telephone poles and light poles and stuff like that. You know how people do that.
Sure.
I bet you Lower Broad has got all that stuff
all
everywhere.
over. This thick with it. Thick with
yeah, the strip in Knoxville used to be that way too, and it's awful. It's trashy looking, right? So Los Angeles said you cannot post any posting any signs on any public property. That case went to the United States Supreme Court. The United States Supreme Court said that's constitutional, but that's a law restricting freedom of speech. It is. It is constitutional.
So they ruled in favor of the city there. Huh.
Yeah, the city won that case. And I was going to ask you to predict the outcome of the case because, frankly, that's a little bit surprising to me. But
you know what? I would have gone the other way. Honestly, I would have said,
right.
"Nah, it's too broad."
Yep. Well, that's not the way the Supreme Court decided it, and that's the law of the land. Now, I will say this, Matt. Each of these cases are very fact specific. We can talk about general principles that apply to all of them, but man, the devil is in the details. And but here, I just don't think there's a lot of details to it. Right? The rule applies only in one room, as I understand it. It's in the chambers.
Well, and in the conference
committee
as
hearings.
well.
Yeah, the committee hearings. Right. So just those places, but they could be in the lobby. They could be outside.
In the rotunda, sure. Yeah.
In the rotunda, exactly. So it's pretty narrowly tailored, and it leaves open ample channels. So, like you say, it could be in the rotunda. They could be out to the Andrew Jackson statue, or they could do it beside the Dolly Parton statue. Oh, they hadn't put that one up yet.
They need to, boy. I mean, there's a spot ready, willing, and able to receive the bust of Dolly Parton. Why is Jay laughing? I don't know why. What the hell is wrong with you?
I think they should show more than her face.
Well, I mean, that's what we call it.
What bust?
I
get it.
That's what it's called. Yeah. But there's a spot. They took Nathan Bedford Forrest out of the Tennessee Capitol, and I get, there's some controversy there. I understand the controversy, but there's a spot ready and willing to receive a beautiful bronze bust of Dolly Parton, and I'm a big fan of it. Well, let's go. Let's make that happen. But you might have to put now, depending on.
Wait a minute. Are you sure there's enough room?
I was about to say they might have to put some of those ropes up so people don't come knocking into it. I'm sorry, I just made myself giggle. If it's at a certain height, you might keep banging your head. I'm sorry. So the government in this case is now asking, and this is kind of frustrating me, Jay, because I think your analysis is correct, and you're the lawyer, not me. You're the legal scholar, not me. But I think the government has a very good opportunity to demonstrate the point that time, place, and manner matters with regard to speech, even when interacting with the government. So they have this case. Well, the special session is now over. And the indication is that they're going to adopt new rules in the general session in January. And those rules will probably go back to the way the rules were, which they allowed these 8x11 signs so long as you don't block anybody else's view. So now Cameron Sexton, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, is asking the judge in the case to dismiss the lawsuit against them because the special session's over. And I think that's a mistake. I think, I mean, you tell me, is there not a point for the government to make here that we have the ability to set our own rules with regard to decorum in the House of Representatives?
No, it is, and there's actually a concept in the law that addresses that, Matt. What they're saying is, hey, it's moot, right? The law is no longer in it. Well, but the law recognizes that, and it's this concept of being capable of repetition but avoiding review. And so even though the current controversy may be over, if it's foreseeable that it will come up again, and it will come up in a way where it can't be reviewed quickly, then by law it's not moot, and it can be go ahead and heard now. And if I were the judge, I would apply that doctrine. I'd say, no, we're going to go forward with the case. Let's find out what the rules are.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense to me to establish. Now, is there a possibility, maybe not on the chancery court level, but if the state were to appeal this, but because I know on a federal level, the judicial branch of government is loath to get involved in the goings-on of rule setting in the legislative branch. They just they consider themselves an equal branch of government. So is there an argument to be made that the judicial branch in the state of Tennessee would say, you know what, that's rule setting in the House. We're not getting into the House's I mean, I understand there's some times that the judicial branch will get into the business of the legislative branch, but they don't like doing it.
Yeah, I suppose they could do that, Matt, but I don't think they would. Because, whenever they're ruling on the constitutionality of a law, they're in effect kind of ruling on what the legislature did. And so I don't think they would say that this is a political question, right? I mean, that's how they kind of dodge that. I think they'd have to decide the case on the merits. That's what I'd do if I were a judge.
Jay Sinclair.
I'm
sorry.
just going to say.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to say, look, legislature can do whatever they want to do about curtailing speech around the Capitol. I don't think they're going to say that.
Well, they may not say anything because the Speaker of the House is asking for the case to be dismissed. And I think, frankly, that's a missed opportunity to establish that they are within. It might not be the best idea in the world. It might be bad public relations, but I do not believe that it is illegal. And Jay has confirmed that I think I'm on the right track here with his legal mind. All right, 1:20, get your questions in for Jay Sinclair. We have a question with Jay about Joe Biden and his pseudonym email scandal that is ongoing. We'll address that next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I kind of consider myself the radio top shot at McGill's world-famous Glock store because my time in our shot session was not beaten during my time out at the Glock store the last time around when we did the show from out there. Now, Dan Mandis has been training a lot longer than me, and Dan Mandis talks about his proficiency with a handgun and how it has improved thanks to Lenny McGill and the world-famous Glock store. Did you know that if you're a female, they have a very popular weekly happening at the world-famous Glock store called Women's Only Wednesdays? They also have a different type of program. I mean, you go to shoot270.com, and you'll see all different manner of programs for you from a training perspective. And here's the deal, folks. You don't live your life in a lane, and so you don't train at the world-famous Glock store in a lane. They have training rooms. They have Shoot 270 rooms. Find out more by going to shoot270.com. You'll see some incredible videos up at shoot270.com, or better yet, stop by and talk to them directly. They're on Airlane Drive right off of Elm Hill Pike. I mean, the retail space, it is tip-top. Their showroom is absolutely beautiful. They've got more Glocks and more guns than you can shake a stick at. And then you get back to the shooting rooms, and they are top-notch as well. Shoot270.com or Glockstore.com for the world-famous Glock store. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy, Paul Winkler, and paulwinkler.com. We want you. Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Winkler is simply the best when it comes to retirement advice. He's the best when it comes to investment education, and he can help you with a simple 15-minute telephone call to Paul Winkler's, one of his 10 separate offices. Now, I'm paid when I talk about Paul Winkler, and federal regulations require that I tell you that. That's all well and good. I'm not paid to be a Paul Winkler client, but I am. Why? Because I believe in his message. He educates you on the financial world. He educates you on your retirement plans, and you are better off as a result, and you get to make informed decisions as a result. No kids fresh out of school. Every office is run by a degreed planner with over 20 years experience. Set up a free 15-minute telephone consultation right now on his website, paulwinkler.com, or better yet, give him a call, 615-851-1950, 851-1950 for Paul Winkler or paulwinkler.com. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Our friend Jay Sinclair is with us. Get your questions in. If you have any legal question on your mind, we're going to answer all of those coming up in just a couple of minutes with Jay Sinclair, who's on the line with us. I have a couple of questions about the legality of suing me for wearing a Georgia hat on Super Talk TV, Jay. So we'll ask you those amongst other questions coming up in just a couple of minutes. You and I spoke briefly this morning, and I asked you to look into this situation involving Joe Biden and his emails. Now, apparently, the National Archives has now admitted that they have held more than 5,100 emails plus other electronic documentation relating to now President Joe Biden's use of pseudonyms in his 8 years as vice president of the United States. And the question is whether or not the public will be able to access those emails through a Freedom of Information request. Just give me your initial thoughts on this situation.
Well, I'll tell you, here's my initial thought, Matt, and I think you've heard me say this before. If you're going to try jury trials in the South, you got to be able to quote some scripture.
Yep.
And I don't have enough scripture memorized as I should, but I do have this memorized, and I use it a lot. Mostly with clients. It's Proverbs 28:1, and this is what it says. The wicked flee even when no one pursues, but the righteous are bold as a lion. The righteous don't use fake names, man. Using fake names is not being a lion. You know who uses fake names? The wicked flee.
Yeah.
The wicked.
Yeah.
So my question is, why in the world would he be doing that? And I cannot think of any good. Well, here's the only good reason I can think of. Maybe they want to file things in different files, right? Because you're probably using a lot of emails. Okay, well that's fine. We'll have you can have one email. That's JSTCLAR. That's my little email. And then you can have another one that's JAYSTCLAR, right? And I could file them that, but I'm not intentionally hiding my identity. I cannot for the life of me think of any reason that a sitting vice president wants to hide his identity when sending emails.
So it seems that the design was because they recognized the need to file these with the National Archives. But it feels like the design of the pseudonyms was such that they would file them away, and anybody asking for a Freedom of Information request regarding, Vice President Joe Biden, well, you'd get all the emails or whatever that the National Archives had under Joe Biden. But if I don't know what name to ask for that he used as a pseudonym, then I don't know what to ask for to get a hold of those other emails.
But if that was what was going on, somebody at the National Archives needs to go to jail because they knew whose emails those were. I guarantee they knew because somebody sent them to them, right? And if they get a stack of emails that says, well, it's from Seymour Butts, they're going to say, well, who is Seymour Butts?
Seymour Butts?
There's nobody with the government named Seymour Butts. That's the guy that lives underneath the seats at the football stadium.
Up the river of no return by I.P. Freely, right?
Right.
I remember
There's no IP Freely. There's no IP Freely. And so they knew. And so if I send a Freedom of Information request to archives and say, I want all emails sent and received by Joe Biden regarding Ukraine, well, they know that Seymour Butts is Joe Biden. And so they would have been obligated by law to give them not only the ones that had the Joe Biden name, but also Seymour Butts. I mean, if that was what this was all about, my word, man, the wicked flee, even when no one pursues.
Well, it's an incognito influence peddling scheme that I see, and we'll see what comes of it. Hold just your thought right there, Jay. We've got bottom of the hour right now. That's 1:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And when we return, listener questions from the listeners to our legal correspondent, Jay Sinclair. That's on the way on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy. The Tennessee Men's Clinic knows all about those numbers that you try to avoid, men, and they know that you try to avoid them, which is why they encourage me to encourage you to give them a call and schedule that appointment today. It's Matt Murphy for Tennessee Men's Clinic. Here's the deal. Men, when you reach middle age, there are reasons that you lose that vitality that you've enjoyed. There's reasons that you lose your energy level, and it's beyond your control. Except that when you go to Tennessee Men's Clinic, once they identify your T levels or other levels within your body, they can get you back to where you used to be naturally, and you get the energy back as a result. Why would you live with lowered energy? Why would you not want to get out to the gym or get out to cut the grass or whatever it might be that you're doing with the same level of energy that you had 10 or so years ago? When you know that you can make this happen with the Tennessee Men's Clinic, go ahead and make the call that so many others have made. It's a simple appointment at either of those locations. One's in Cool Springs, that's in Franklin. The other, Midtown Nashville. They've been around for decades now, helping men just like you. Don't wait like so many other men do. Call today and schedule an appointment. 615-208-9090. 615-208-9090. For our friends at the Tennessee Men's Clinic, Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy and you. Thank you for being here. One more segment with our good friend Jay Sinclair. He's joining us from Birmingham, Alabama, a Tennessee native, a graduate of the University of before he went up to Yale. I said before he went up to Yale. Also born and bred in the state of Tennessee. And a lot of questions for you. If you have questions, legal or otherwise, for Jay Sinclair, 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. Our first comes from 2133 Jay, who says, Jay covered the limited public forum doctrine. He didn't mention traditional public forum differences. What are the differences? Do you know off the top of your head the traditional public forum versus limited public forum? I don't, honestly.
Well, I think I do, but I don't. I can't answer the question in any meaningful way. But some places are meant to be a public forum, if you see what I'm saying, right? I mean, their purpose is to get up and speak. The best example of that is maybe Speaker's Corner in Hyde Park in London. Have you ever been there, man?
I have not.
It is hilarious, and it's this little corner off in a park, and its purpose is so people can get up and speak.
Huh?
Like street preachers. And I think they can get up and talk for as long as they want to about anything they want to. And it's just silly. And it's mostly crazy people and Georgia fans. Well,
I bet you repeat yourself, Jay.
Yeah. So, no, I haven't looked at that in a while. But I think what they're saying is, well, but if it's a what was the phrase they used? Designated?
A traditional public forum.
Yeah. So if that's a place where people normally go to speak, the rules are probably different, and yeah, they probably are. But I didn't look at that. I was looking just at this issue of the signs in the legislature.
Well, and another person says, well, we're covering the first, but what about the second? And I obviously, and he's referring to the Second Amendment, where, I mean, the Second Amendment just says the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. I mean, obviously, if I go into a courthouse or if I go into the state capitol, my right to keep and bear arms will be infringed upon entering that building.
Yeah, and I'll tell you where else it will be. Neyland Stadium. In fact, I tell you what, I don't know where the game is this year, but why don't you try to carry your handgun into Neyland Stadium?
No, Jay. You're trying to
see how that works out.
You're trying to keep me from watching the Bulldogs whoop up on the ball, too.
I'm trying to keep one less voice in the stadium.
Well, speaking along those lines, John writes in and says, I believe Jay would agree that a distasteful cap or sign on a cap should be banned from being worn on Super Talk TV.
So here's the deal. Now, here's the deal. First Amendment only applies to the government.
There you go.
And Matt's radio station is not the government. So they absolutely, that's one of the examples I use in law school, is I say, well, can Walmart violate the First Amendment? Can Walmart say, hey, you can't come in here wearing that rebel flag on your T-shirt? Does that violate the First Amendment? The answer is no. They're not the government. And the same thing about your radio station. So the answer to that, sir, is it's entirely legal to prohibit Georgia swag on a Tennessee radio station. And it's not only legal, sir, it makes eminent sense.
Don't encourage these folks. Jay, it's football season in Tennessee. The thought occurred to me, and I want to get away from the questions for just a second to ask you this. So you said, if I heard you correctly, that the government, if they make a sign restriction, that's permissible because of time, place, and manner, but it cannot be content in its basis.
Absolutely. Once they start picking winners and losers based on content, man, the standard they have to meet is much, much higher. For example, let's say what they said is we will allow signs that are pro-Second Amendment, but we will not allow any signs that are anti-Second Amendment. That's based on content. They lose that case every time.
What about what about profanity?
Yeah, and that's sort of in a different trail. There's some stuff that you just can't do, right? I mean, or threats that it's permissible to. I guess it depends on what the profanity is. The 7 words you can't say on radio.
Right. I mean, well, the profanity provision is one that intrigues me because, I mean, that's just really kind of a societal thing, right? I mean,
well, it is. It's establishing social norms. That's the who is it? FCC. I guess that's really law. I just know it from the George Carlin.
Oh, no question. Right.
Very funny. Right? It's very, very funny. But moralities imposed by even the government can sometimes be permissible. Nudity, no public nudity. In a lot of places, it's illegal to walk around naked.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's about morality, and that's legal. That's constitutional.
And furthering along those lines, and not that I would encourage someone to press this to see how far you could go with it. My thing is this, that who wants the signs in the gallery and who doesn't want the signs in the galleries, oftentimes it's based on who's up in the gallery and whether they agree with you or don't agree with you on whatever political point is being debated. And I brought up the point that if the same people who were defending the signs, if a bunch of people came in, remember those signs that we talked about in Columbia that the idiot was putting up?
The KKK sign.
The KKK sign. What about this goober? What if he comes in with a KKK sign in the gallery? The same people saying that everyone has a right to carry those signs around will be demanding that those people get booted out of the gallery for their offensive signs.
All depends on the ownership of the gored ox.
Yeah, that's about right. All right, let's get back into a few other questions. Okay, Joe says, I've got a question for the man, Jay Sinclair. This guy I'm just going to read this as written, Jay. You'll get a kick out of this. Okay. This guy reminds me of Dean Martin. You remember the Dean Martin roasts? No one could do better than Dean Martin. And I got to tell you, Jay Sinclair's voice makes it a close second. So my question is, at the end of the day, after using all that brain power as an attorney, when he's hanging out with his other attorney buddies and judge buddies, at the end of the day, what is Jay's drink of choice? If he says grape, Kool-Aid, and Smirnoff, he's my hero. But since I know he's an educated man, I don't expect that. What does a man like that like to sip on at the end of the day?
Well, Matt knows the answer to this because we both, I think, pretty much order the same thing when we are in houses of chance or playing games of chance. It is a dog lover's vodka made, I believe, in Texas called Tito's.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you mix it with cranberry juice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, it's just great. It's absolutely great.
See, I thought you were going to go the dinner time route and talk about martinis because you've been known to order a martini.
At the cocktail hour, I will have a vodka martini shaken unstirred. But you got to listen. Here's the deal about martinis, man. 1 is just right. 2 is too many. And 3 ain't nearly enough.
I like that. I remember that my grandfather-in-law had it was done by the artist that used to do the New Yorker cartoons.
Mm-hmm,
and it was the Martini Drinker's Credo or something along those lines. And I'll screw it up. I won't get it right. But it talked about when the proper time to drink a martini was. And it ended with saying that you can drink a martini basically any time that you want because the seasons don't matter to martini drinkers. They rarely know what year it is, much less the season. On a more serious note, Jay, I have this question. What type of lawyer do I need to attempt to restore my purchasing gun rights? And then it says non-felon. So I'm assuming this caller or this writer means that they have not been convicted of a felony, but for some, I bet you'd have to know why their gun rights were taken away from them, wouldn't you?
Well, boy, that is a really specific area of the law. So I don't have a direct answer to that, but I want to comment on that a little bit. 50 years ago, all lawyers were generalists because there wasn't as much law, Matt, 50 years ago as there is now. Now the law has gotten so complicated that when you're going to look for a lawyer, folks, you got to find someone who specializes in that area. You really, really do, because the law has gotten so specialized. And so this is a really good question. What I would do is do an internet search, because there are some lawyers out there that have probably specialized in restoring, the right, when you say gun right, I'm guessing to buy a gun. Maybe it's to get a concealed carry, but it must be that you're not even able to buy a gun. There may be some lawyers out there who have just that practice of doing that. But the only way you're going to find that out is to do a search on the internet. But if you came to me on something like that, I'd have to start from scratch.
Right.
And that's not what you want.
Right. All right. 4540 says Jay is absolutely right. 99.7 needs to ban all mention of the Georgia Bullfrogs. That's not a typo. I said what I said. Okay.
Well, let's say football season must be just about here, man.
I think it's here, Jay. I think it's here. The Volunteers are very excited after going 11-2 last year.
Hey, listen, I heard something about they found some crack in the stadium there in Nashville, and they may have to move the game to Knoxville. Is that old news now, or have you even heard about that?
What?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, Mac. All right, hold on. Mac Maury, get in here. Our newsman, our industrious young newsman, Mac Maury, is looking confused. Jay says that he heard there's a crack in the stadium. They got to move the game back to Knoxville. Have you heard this, Mac Maury?
One day ago from VolNation.com, Vol's game may move to Neyland Stadium after crock in lower bowl discovered at Nissan.
What?
Wow.
That's got to be fake news.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I hadn't heard anything else about it.
I think it's fake.
It's fake.
Yeah, I think people are trolling.
Mm-hmm. Fake news. There.
Okay.
There you go. Fake news, Jason.
Well, football season's here.
Don't trust lawyers when it comes to your football. That's the takeaway from that. And then Cade writes in one more serious question, Jay. This is a pretty good one. Cade says, "I'm about to open a small business. Mm-hmm. Do I need a lawyer?"
No, you don't. But that's a great question. Well, I'd say this. You don't need a lawyer to open a small business, but it would be a good idea to find a lawyer just so that you have somebody if you need them. You can open a business without having a lawyer. It's some trouble. I mean, we make it hard. But, for example, you're going to want an accountant. You absolutely need an accountant. And if you don't have a relationship with a lawyer right now, I suggest you have one. Because, I asked Matt Murphy, hey, Matt, is it kind of nice to have a lawyer that if you got some little problem comes, you just call up and talk to your lawyer?
It's good to have a buddy that you play golf with that also happens to be the smartest legal mind you've ever met.
So, ma'am, you don't have to get a lawyer, ma'am, but I think it's a good idea just to have that relationship. You may not even need any advice on the opening the business, but sooner or eventually you will. And it would be nice to already have an established relationship. And what I would look for there is someone in a small firm, maybe even a solo practitioner, who specializes in advising small companies. There's a lot of lawyers out there that do that.
Jay, a lot of people want to say go big orange to you, and so I'll just relate that information to you before I say goodbye. So they say go big orange. I'm not saying go big orange. They say go big orange. Okay? So there you go.
Yeah, well, let's see. We'll see what happens. Got to win, Matt. You just got to win.
Go big orange, Jay.
There you go. Buddy. There's Mac Maury. Take care, Jay. There's Jay Sinclair joining us for a good portion of the hour, offering some sage legal wisdom regarding a number of topics. When we come back, Bob Ibeck speaking of football, has a great opportunity for you Tennessee Volunteer fans, and it goes to a wonderful cause. We'll talk about that next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Talk 99.7 WTN 156, and a good afternoon. You know, we were talking football season. Obviously, a lot of us excited about the start of the college football season. Professional football are right around the corner as well. The Tennessee Titans gearing up to compete yet again. The Tennessee Volunteers gearing up as well. And for you Volunteer fans out there, I introduce you again to Bob Ibach. Bob is with Nyco Sports, and Bob has a great opportunity to talk to you about that also benefits a wonderful charity. Bob, good to speak with you again. It's been a number of years, but great to have you on the phone with this wonderful opportunity for volunteer fans. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. To be with you, and I hope you're having a great day. And we've got a great opportunity to help out the Make-A-Wish Foundation of East Tennessee on these beautiful footballs. Only 5,000 of them are going to be made for $119 each to commemorate the 25th anniversary of championship season back in 1998 when they beat Florida State to win the BCS title and finished 13-0 that year. On the football, everything is individually numbered. An authenticity letter comes with it. You'll get everything embossed on various panels of the ball. There's a beautiful color panoramic photograph on one of the panels of Neyland Stadium. We also have a listing of all the games during the perfect season schedule with scores, opponents, and dates listed there, along with the official 25th anniversary logo. Now, there's two ways you can get these. Again, they're priced at $119 to help out Make-A-Wish Foundation, raise funds for some youngsters who have some life-threatening medical conditions. You can call 1-800-345-2868. That's 1-800-345-2868. Or simply go to the website, NycoSports.com. You spell it NIKCOsports.com. That's NIKCOsports.com. And again, these are fully licensed, and they'll come with that numbered certificate of authenticity. Makes a great Christmas gift idea for that Volunteers fan, too.
Well, I was about to say, Bob, I mean, you're bringing together a couple of things here. One, the 25th anniversary, obviously, of the undefeated season, but also, I've been in Tennessee. I'm a Georgia Bulldog myself, but I've been in Tennessee for a couple of years, and, man, these Volunteers are excited about their team, excited about their season, 11-2 last year. They're excited about this year. And what a better way to, to find that fan in your life that's excited about it and give back to a wonderful organization like Make-A-Wish. Congratulations to Nyco Sports for being associated with Make-A-Wish. That's a good thing that you guys are doing. It's a wonderful organization.
It sure is, Matt. I was with the Chicago Cubs for 10 years in their front office, and Make-A-Wish was first starting out. We got involved with that way back in the 1980s when I was there. And if you've ever experienced being able to give a child a special wish like I have, it just gives you goosebumps. So I know this project is going to help out a lot of good kids.
Well, Bob, we wish you luck. A limited edition, 5,000 footballs, $119 each. Go to Nyco Sports to find out more information about that. And, Bob, I hope you sell every single one of them today because that means good things are happening for Make-A-Wish. So we appreciate you letting us know about all of it, Bob. Thanks.
Absolutely. Hey, have a safe Labor Day weekend and holiday, and good to talk to you again, Matt.
Yeah, good to talk to you too, Bob. There's Bob Ibach with Nyco. Pardon me. No, I said it right. Nyco Sports. Here comes Mac Morey with the news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We're back with your calls coming up in just a moment. Stand by.
It is 2 o'clock. I'm Mac Morey with your top stories. A beautiful day in the month of August. Currently 79 degrees and partly sunny on Music Row. Clear skies all week and Labor Day weekend long. Complete forecast just a few minutes away. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell appeared to freeze again at a news conference yesterday in his home state of Kentucky. McConnell was seen unable to answer a question about running for re-election and staring blankly for more than 30 seconds before his aides came to his side. McConnell's team saying that he was feeling, quote, lightheaded and that he plans to return to Washington after the Labor Day holiday. It's not clear what McConnell's latest health hurdles are, but he suffered a concussion earlier this year after a fall. And Dr. Leah Kroll, who's a neurologist, says while she can't say for sure, McConnell's behavior seems concerning.
The more frequently events are happening, the more likely that an event will occur at a really inopportune time. For example, with my patients, I worry about them getting behind the wheel of a car or crossing the street. Senator McConnell may not have those specific concerns, but the general idea is that the more frequently events are happening, the more likely you could get yourself into a really dangerous situation.
She continued to call it worrisome, and this is the second time this summer that McConnell froze during a news conference. Crime in Tennessee. A person was injured in a car chase and a shootout last night. Officials say the chase involved two cars shooting at each other until it ended at 338 Ewing Drive around 9 o'clock last night. One of those victims was taken to Skyline Medical Center, and it's currently unclear if that was because of a shot that was fired or an injury from the crash. And residents of Florida's Cedar Key are seeing firsthand the wrath of Hurricane Idalia. Structures have been destroyed across the small island city, and some parts still have no water or sewage. Officials say rebuilding will likely take many months. Sue Coulson is the city commissioner for Cedar Key.
We produce 95% of all the clams and oysters in Florida. I'm more concerned that those clams and oysters are safe and they're not contaminated.
And multiple people have lost their homes. There's been a bunch of damage. We'll keep you updated with the repairs there right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. That is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
Friends, it's as simple as this. I've now lost 31 pounds. Thank you so much to PhD Weight Loss. That's the best endorsement I can give you. I'm on the way to my target weight. I'm already halfway there, over halfway there, as a matter of fact. Cannot tell you the difference that it has made in my life in terms of sleep patterns. I feel better. I've got more energy now, and you can too. Folks, I understand that you want to lose weight. I understand you need structure because I needed that structure in my life, but you also want support as well. You get the support with PhD Weight Loss. Rachel is my consultant. We talk on a weekly basis. She helps me out through the bumpy times, and she supports me during the good times as I'm losing the weight. Thank you to Dr. Ashley Lucas and PhD Weight Loss for helping giving me that structure and giving me hope that I can get to the weight that I've wanted to be at. Most men lose between 3 and 5 pounds per week. I'm right there in that zone. Women, you lose between 2 and 3 pounds a week. And don't forget about the guarantee. If you don't get within 5 pounds of your target weight by the end of your program, they'll coach you for free until you do. That's as much as you can ask. MyPhDWeightLoss.com. That's MyPhDWeightLoss.com. Lose the weight you've been meaning to get off today with PhD Weight Loss. Here we go. Hour number 3, Matt Murphy Show, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is Thursday, my Friday, no Murphy Show. Well, there's a Murphy Show tomorrow, but no Matt Murphy tomorrow. Pamela Furr in for me. It is my birthday tomorrow, so it's birthday eve. Thank you for all of your Happy birthday wishes. You're very kind. We'll get back into Joe Biden's comments a little later on this hour. Joe Biden had a few things to say about his successful tour of Maui in the aftermath of the horrific fires over there, when he made a comparison between a total loss, a destruction of really an entire community, several communities to be precise, with a little kitchen fire that he had in his kitchen some years ago. We'll get back into that and get your telephone calls on it at 615-737-9986. Also, Super Text line is up and running as well. There's an event coming to town, and I don't know if you know about the Barrett News Media. It's a little bit of an inside baseball organization, in as much as those of us who are in this industry know very much about Jason Barrett and his news organization. It didn't start as a news organization, start as more of a sports organization, but they've got a summit that's coming up next month, and an opportunity. The reason I wanted to have Jason on with us, it's an opportunity for you, if you are a college-age student and you are delving into communications, students who are interested in the summit will be considered for a free ticket. Jason's here to tell you all about it on the Murphy Show hotline. Jason Barrett joins us on the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Jason, good to talk with you. How are you, sir?
I'm great, Matt. Happy early birthday.
You're very kind to say so, Jason. You're located in Nashville, are you not?
No, I'm actually based in New York, but
okay.
I'll be living in Nashville for about a week when I get to town in a few weeks.
How did you select Nashville as the location for the summit? I mean, I understand why it's the it place to be, but I'm just curious how you made the decision to settle in Nashville for the summit on the 13th and the 14th.
I'll tell you, you obviously are more privy to it than anybody because you live there, but I think it's one of the sleeping giants of the news talk media industry. If you look around just at the amount of different brands that call Nashville home that are significant players in this space, it's pretty impressive. And so I was on vacation there last year in the summer. We went and did a bunch of scouting of a bunch of locations, ultimately chose Vanderbilt, which I'm really excited to be bringing our conference to. And, you know, it's a great city. I've been there many times and looking forward to doing some work in it.
How has the news talk world treated you so far? I know that, Jason, and for those who don't, you began your career in the sports talk arena and created this sports talk media organization that has taken that arena by storm. Congratulations on that front. What made you decide to branch out to more, of the political side of spoken word?
I'm glad you asked. Yes, my background started in sports. I spent 20 years in radio, worked at, the local level a lot, built a few stations, worked with ESPN, Dan Patrick. And so that's where it started. But I think, Matt, you probably have gone through this. As you get older, you get interested in more than just leisure activities that you pay attention to. I just have a lot more serious parts of my life. You become more interested in the economy, who the president is, how it's going to impact your paycheck, all those kind of things. And on top of that, a lot of the things that apply in sports broadcasting really transfer really smoothly into the news talk space. When you look around the world, or at least in the United States, the news talk radio industry is over 2,000 stations deep. It's the second or third largest format in all of broadcasting. And so, when I look at sports, as much as I love it, and I do love it, that's a format with 700 stations. So to me, if I can be active covering the business through 2,700 stations, talking about both things that I enjoy, it's a lot more fun. You get to do a lot more different stuff, build a lot more relationships. And as such, we're, launching a news talk conference for the broadcasting business here in a few weeks because it opens doors to attack different subjects and help a lot more people.
Well, and I'm excited about the summit, and I know this is a little inside baseball for the listeners, but our medium is changing so much, and I would imagine the listeners would be curious your thoughts on that front, because we've seen in my 23, almost 24 years in the industry, there was a time where you go on at noon, you're gone at 3 and you're gone for 21 hours until you're on the air the next day. Now with social media, with the Facebook platforms, Twitter, now you've got YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch on the social media side of things. You've got News Talk TV as well. You've got podcasting space. I mean, things seem to be changing and changing rapidly before our very eyes in our medium.
They are. And I everything you just touched on, although I think you're extremely plugged in by what you just shared, I will tell you I pay a lot of attention to a lot of brands around the country. And there are some that don't even have a YouTube page, some that don't have talent on Twitter, some that haven't put a Facebook post up in 4 years. And so, knowing that these are the spaces where the public gather, that's the first step. Then the second part is, okay, what's the strategy? What's the execution? Do you have the right people to execute that vision? And on top of it, look, the one thing about our business, you can be in all these spaces, but if you're in your boss's position, she's going to ask, hey, how do we make money in these spaces? At some point, you got to be able to be profitable, in a number of different areas. And you also have to assess how much time are we putting into something, and is there enough of a return on it? And so some of this stuff, if you look at the TV world, everybody is making the pivot to streaming. But if you look at the amount of money coming into streaming versus what used to come to these TV networks through cable distribution, it's less money. And so the question is how much time can pass before the numbers start to equal, And so I think we're in a, first of all, there's always going to be a demand for content. There's always going to be a demand for interaction between the public and broadcasters. That's a good thing for many of us who work in the broadcast business. But the bigger challenge is, how do we grow revenue? How do we get more people interested in our brand beyond the radio, beyond TV, beyond social platforms? Because, people are going to pick what they want when they want, and it's our job to follow them.
Well, and it ties right into really the primary reason that I wanted to have you on, Jason, and that was to bring the younger generation into the arena and to help them dip their toes into their, potentially their chosen career field. And you have an opportunity for college-age students who are interested to receive free tickets to the Nashville Summit, September 13 and 14. Tell me about the genesis of that idea and how these students can apply for the tickets.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. The one thing, I'm sure when you were coming up in your career, you did a lot of reading online like I did. You probably talked to a lot of people in the business. But being able to get a crash course into the broadcasting business from people in the broadcasting business wasn't always available. And so when I started doing sports talk conferences a few years ago, I said, one thing I want to do is I want to use it as a platform to help young people, because our business is only going to grow if we get more of them interested in it. And as much as I love college, I've got my son in school, and there's a lot to learn there. It's a different world when you're inside a broadcasting building. And so who better to share those experiences and details with students than the people themselves that work in it? And if you're smart and you're looking to get into the business, whether you're pursuing journalism, TV, radio, students can learn a lot from this. So we're holding a contest. This is a closed event. It's for broadcasters, but we want students in that room to be able to take advantage of building relationships and learning. And so all they have to do is submit a 2-minute video to jason@barrettnewsmedia.com. It's that simple. We're giving them till next Thursday. We'll pick a few winners next Friday, and then, they'll get access to both days of the show, get a chance to meet a bunch of personalities, programmers, executives, and hopefully come out of there with some things that spark them going forward as they look to make their entry into our business in the future.
Well, we need more and more of the younger generation to peel off. It's easy to get the younger generation interested in sports, or at least easier than it is in news talk. They kind of normally grow into us, but there are a lot of young folks coming out of college that would be well served by attending this summit. Really, I think a lot of us inside of our industry would be well served as well. But certainly those young voices, we need them to kind of fill the shoes of those who retire out and leave our industry. So it's a great opportunity for younger folks. Give them the website one more time, Jason, so that they can write it down and get in contact with you.
Yeah, you got it. The website, our brand is barrettnewsmedia.com. The conference is BNM Summit. BNM is in Barrett News Media, summit.com, and they can send an email, jason@barrettnewsmedia.com, pass along a quick video letting us know why they want to come and what they're doing right now to pursue the business. Are they taking internships? Have they talked to people about, what they have to do to get in the business? I just want to see some people that have passion, are interested in the medium, and, if they're curious and open-minded to learning, then we want them in the room.
Well, and I want to say thank you, Jason, because every industry, and I think the audience can identify with this, no matter what your chosen career path is, you need those voices that provide different ideas, different structures, different concepts, brainstorming sessions, and the like. And that's the way I look at Barrett News Media. You guys offer so many different ideas about how we can better serve our audience, our friends in the listening audience. And I appreciate you for that, Jason, and I'm certainly looking forward to seeing you guys in town and seeing you on the 13th and the 14th.
Yeah, you got it, Matt. I appreciate what you guys do. Dan Mandis is speaking at it, which I appreciate. Obviously, you're coming over, and so we're looking forward to making some FaceTime. I appreciate the kind words, and hopefully we get a few kids in there that can benefit from it.
By the way, I would note I'm reading directly from the Summit page here, where it says that Barrett News Media is providing a conference featuring decision makers, local and national personalities, industry thought leaders, and then in parentheses it says and Dan Mandis. So that's I'm just kidding. I got to pick up my boss a little bit, Jason. No, Dan's obviously going to be a featured speaker over there, and I can't wait to heckle him lustily, robustly from the back of the room. Thanks, man. We appreciate what you do, and we'll talk again very soon.
You got it, Matt. I'll see you in a few weeks.
All right, take care. There's Jason Barrett. I don't know why I thought Jason was local to Nashville, but I did. I embarrassingly asked him if he was local, and he's not. He's up in New York. I, for some reason, thought that he was. Did you tell me he was?
No, but do we blame it on me?
Oh, good. Yeah. Hey, why'd you tell me that, Bell?
I wanted to embarrass you.
Provided me poor information. 2:17, when we return, Joe Biden is still making a jerk of himself with regard to this kitchen fire that he had some years ago. He can't get the year right. He can't get the circumstances of the event correct. We'll talk about it all in just a moment. It's 2:18 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy to talk with you a little bit about the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project. By now, you probably know that we have veterans, heroes, reintegrating into civilian life, and sometimes they have physical limitations, sometimes they have mental limitations that prohibit their ability to fully reintegrate into civilian life. That's where the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project comes in. Charlie, David Corlew, and others created the project to help those who have helped us in so many different ways and protected the freedoms and liberties that we enjoy. They vet programs, and they make sure that they maximize the dollars that you spend with the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project, making sure that maximum levels of those dollars don't go to administrative cost, but go to the veterans that we're here to serve. Charlie, David, and his crew, they truly do make sure that that is the case. They have their annual event coming up on September 13th. Listen up for more ways to be a part of that event. Next week, we'll have a couple of tickets to give away to you, potentially through the 997WTN.com website for the Charlie Daniels Patriot Awards Dinner that's happening September 13th. More coming up on that. And please give as you can to the Charlie Daniels Journey Home Project at the website, thecharliedanielsjourneyhomeproject.org.
Rutherford County getting sued after a woman claims that she was forced to wear her hijab was forced to take off her hijab while taking a booking photo. President Biden says he has now spoke to Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell after another freeze-up yesterday. Those stories and more coming up, 2:30 Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
I do not believe that it would be apropos for me to ask a question about that tease until such time as you have fulfilled your obligation and offered us other details. But I'm listening. And right after the bottom of the hour news, I have a question. Maybe you'll answer it in the story. So that's what I should do. I should wait on the story like everyone else, and then if my question is not answered in the story, then maybe I can follow up. Is that a deal?
That's a deal, but
you like that?
We both know that you're going to ask the question anyways, because come 2:30.
Hey, by the way, do we have come 2:30 what? I'm in the bathroom. I'm not.
You're not listening to me.
I'm not listening to you right now. Mister. Hey, we got a Friday Mac Attack on Thursday today. You want to do that?
Yeah, great. Let's do it.
Why not?
Yeah, come on.
To hell with prep.
Yeah. So, you got what? You got, I don't know.
10 minutes?
10 minutes. Get it together, Maury. Let's go.
I'm on it.
Come on. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Get ready, pal. You're going in for a problem.
You are going in for a problem. Speaking of Joe Biden, he's in for a problem. He was speaking at the Federal Emergency Management Agency headquarters, touting all of the good that they've done in the Maui wildfires. No comment. Joe Biden made a comment about the southern border in discussing the fires and whatnot. Had this to say about the southern border. Here's the President of the United States.
And one of the other things I've been asking the Congress for, it was need about $15 billion along the border to be able to deal with the technology needed to be able to determine whether or not these precursor drugs are making it into Mexico or into the United States, and dealing with that. So there's more to do there as well.
Is it just me, or is this getting a lot worse very quickly?
I don't know.
It's now, he's having a difficult time, not just, should we just start calling him Mumbles? Because that's what he does. He mumbles. I'm going to try to give you one more opportunity to listen to what he had to say. By the way, it's all garbage. I've translated it, and it makes more sense without the translation than it does with. Technology needed 15. Money. We need money for the.
Where are you? Where is everybody?
I know I don't need to tell you this. Donald Trump had set into motion the infrastructure needs on the southern border to build a wall after vetting various formats, various types of wall. They selected a certain type of wall that would be the most difficult to penetrate. And we were well on our way at securing the southern border in a fashion that would give the Border Patrol agents the tools necessary. We funded it. Remember that Donald Trump had to fight to fund it. The Democrats fought him every step of the way in his funding needs on the southern border. Now, Joe Biden uses it as a way not to act. Joe Biden dismantled the program that was building the wall that would keep people out and drugs out. Joe Biden stopped that program. Joe Biden, under his direction, under the direction of Alejandro Mayorkas, made the decision to begin selling off pieces of that wall so it could never be used again for the prevention of illegal border crossings. Yet this guy has the audacity to mumble this crap.
And one of the other things I've been asking the Congress for is need about $15 billion along the border to be able to deal with the technology needed to be able to determine whether or not these precursor drugs are making it into Mexico or into the United States.
You know, he's saying that we need $15 billion. I mean, you just heard him. I don't need to repeat it. But for those of you who actually speak English and not mumbles, let me say, he said we need $15 billion in order to determine if we can deal with the technology needed in order to decide whether or not these drugs are getting into the United States of America. Joe, I'm happy to take you to visit family of people that have lost their lives to fentanyl overdose if you want. Why not talk to some of these family members? And they'll tell you. Talk to the Border Patrol and ask them about drug seizures coming across the border. In the meantime, Joe got a little uncomfortable during his FEMA visit in that people were asking him stuff that he had not prepped for. Let's listen into mumbles.
Doing his job? Do you have any concerns about his ability?
I don't.
President
You want to talk to me about...
to Congress?
Do you want let's talk about why I'm here.
Doing his job?
Let's talk about why I'm here. You know what? I would like to talk about why you're there. I'd like to talk about who is actually running the country. Who are you and why are you here? Joe Biden, let's see. Then there's this. Right before he left, he had this to say.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Where am I going now?
Go right this way.
Where am I going now? Joe said. Where am I going now? Mm-hmm.
Where am I? What's going to happen?
Yeah, that's right. But he did take the opportunity to rally the troops about climate change.
We're in a situation where, we're, how can I say it? There's still some deniers out there in terms of whether or not climate change has anything to do with any of this. And we're going to need a whole hell of a lot more money.
That's what it... You know what? Joe is now saying the quiet part out loud, isn't he? That we're going to squash these deniers out there that hesitate to believe that man is fully responsible for any level of climate change. The climate has always changed. I don't know of anyone that's denying that we are in a hot spell on Mother Earth. Obviously, we are. The data tells us that we are. But the political liberals use the data, manipulate data to their own purposes for the goal of getting money from the American taxpayer to the government to fund programs of their own choosing under the umbrella of we're saving the planet thanks to our climate change agenda. It's a pretty wonderful system if you think about it. There's never going to be that full climate change that was predicted years ago by Al Gore and others. Man has precious little to do with that. However, if you insist that you must have the money, you can always on the back end when these things don't happen, claim victory over something that was never a problem to begin with. When it doesn't happen, they'll claim victory over it and say that were it not for them, it would have happened and would all be burned to a crisp by now. By the way, it's a Category 3 hurricane. All my life, all your life, all our lives, there have been Category 3 hurricanes. It's 2:31 on Super Talk.
2:31, I'm Mac Maury with your top stories. And in August on a gorgeous sunny day, 81 degrees right now in Nashville. Full weather forecast coming up in 2 minutes. Rutherford County getting sued. Channel 4 reports that a woman is suing the county after she was reportedly demanded to take off her hijab for a booking photo, claiming that she was denied religious accommodation. Sophia Johnston was stopped for a broken taillight on August 23rd and was then arrested by officers on a misdemeanor charge for driving on a suspended license back in 2017. It's a charge she says she's completely unaware of. Johnston says that they then made her take the booking photo without her hijab on while multiple men were around, which is, again, against her faith. Johnston has a court date set for September 25th in Rutherford County. And Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell appeared to freeze again at a news conference this week in his home state of Kentucky. McConnell was seen unable to answer a question about running for re-election and stared blankly for more than 30 seconds before aides came to his side. McConnell's team saying that he was feeling lightheaded and that he plans to return to Washington after the Labor Day holiday. And it's not clear what McConnell's latest health hurdles are, but he suffered a concussion earlier this year after a fall. Karen Travers has the reaction from President Biden.
President Biden said he spoke Wednesday to Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell and said he was his, quote, old self on the telephone. The president offering his view on what McConnell is going through and what may have happened when McConnell appeared to freeze during an event on Wednesday.
It's not at all unusual to have the response that sometimes happens to Mitch when you've had a severe concussion. It's part of the recovery.
Asked if he had any concerns about McConnell's ability to do his job, the president said, "No, I don't."
And that is the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
I am so pleased to be able to talk about the Mill Creek View Tennessee podcast. I have met and know Steve Abramowitz. He's been in town a little longer than me, around the same time, really. And he cranked up the Mill Creek View Tennessee podcast around the same time that he got here. Man, oh, man, some fabulous guests. And not just me, but people like Dan Mandis, Pamela Furr, and others have been guests on the Mill Creek View Tennessee podcast. The ever-popular Steve and Steve segment is there as well. They give you historical quotes of the day that you can live by, Tennessee values galore, plus arts, authors, culture, entertainment, and a lot of political conversation. Frequently the number one show on politics on Podomatic. Find them at Deezer, iTunes, iHeart, Spotify, your favorite podcast app. They're also on Rumble. That is a YouTube alternative that doesn't censor folks like Mill Creek View or me or you. Go to Mill Creek View, Tennessee, or find out more at their newspaper. That's what they call it, mcview.us. That's mcview.us. It's the Mill Creek View Tennessee podcast. Strongly endorsed and recommended by yours truly, Matt Murphy. Go to Mill Creek View, Tennessee. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is 2:38. As we've been mentioning, I couldn't help myself. It is Thursday, my Friday on Super Talk 99.7
It's
WTN.
Friday Eve.
No. Every time you do that, a puppy dies. If you don't mind.
I'm a cat guy.
If you don't mind, well, I mean, maybe I might talk to the guy and see if he can switch over to cats. Start over there in Madison. Huh?
Who is the guy? Where is this guy?
So me. Hey, by the way, it's not just First Amendment Freestyle Friday on Thursday, but considering that I'm out tomorrow, and we try to do this every Friday, it's one of the favorite segments of our listening audience. We promote it all the week. We look forward to it all the week.
We
like
do
to
it
call
every now and then.
You know, every so often. When he's not here, we don't do it. When I'm not here, we typically don't do it. But today we're doing it. It's called Friday Mac Attack!
A whole segment of Cougar Chow. It's the Friday Mac Attack on the Mac Murphy Show.
Yes, it's our little get-together where we allow newsman Mac Maury to let his hair down, figuratively and literally, and we get to see the other side of Mac Maury, and I kind of like that. And
thank you.
And
I
plus,
appreciate
you come into studio, and you always smell good, so... Hello.
Hey, yeah, it's better than seeing you through two panes of glass with Bell's head just kind of maneuvering perfectly in between our eye lines.
His little headless body hovering
exactly.
there. So I don't know if anybody noticed, and we are a news talk radio station. We talk about the news that matters to you.
You are a liar, sir.
No, that's true. Believe it or not, that's what I was told. It's right there on the billboard. But I have it on good authority that it's football season.
Oh yeah, we're back, baby.
I have it on. I've been told by several that it's football season. Are you excited?
I'm so excited.
Volunteer through and through?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Of course. And Kansas City Chief. I bleed red and gold. So
yeah.
No, so I'm excited. Yeah, I mean, this Saturday is going to be great. Next Thursday, the Chiefs open up the NFL season. I mean, it's about time.
What does your closet look like? It's just a lot of shades of red and orange.
Yeah, that's it.
Isn't it?
It's disgusting.
I used to.
But it's great.
I can't stand football season. I like orange, but I have some orange clothing. And I get crapped on about it when don't give me that. Don't give me that look. Don't give me that look. Don't give me that look.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing. You get crap for your crimson colored, dark red colored truck.
It's candy apple red.
Does Hannah ever try to dress you?
No.
Not even a little bit.
No, not really.
Like, why are you wearing that shirt? None of that.
Usually I'm just like, don't I look good? And then it's just like silence. And I'm like, okay, great. I'll go change. Don't you think this looks cute?
Nothing. I don't know if Bella intended it to make me laugh the way it did, but that was pretty good. Does Hannah dress you at all? No. Well, then why are you wearing that shirt? Because a real dude would not have picked out that shirt is the implication there. It does have a lot of palm trees on it.
Yeah, come on.
Better than pineapples. Don't wear pineapples.
Not good.
Do you know about pineapples?
Oh, isn't that...
That's the international... I'd learned this. Yeah. It's swinging.
Swinging.
Yeah. I'm told, I've never seen this, but I look for it now, that if you go into a grocery store, and if there's somebody in the grocery store and they got a pineapple and it's turned upside down.
Oh, yeah.
Upside down. Key. Don't just go up to some rando with a pineapple. Hey, you want to get together? No, hey, easy. You get arrested that way. But upside down pineapple, that's what I've been told.
That's a thing in neighborhoods, too, I think. Like outside, if you have like a
pineapple action going
decoration, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe
How do you know that?
How would we know?
How do you know that?
Yeah, how do you know that?
Yeah, wait, what? I wasn't the one who brought this up.
How did you know about the pineapples in the grocery stores, too?
You know what's actually, now you're making me think of this, Bell. You know what's suspicious? Who told me about the pineapples was Hannah. How does she know about the pineapples? That's the question.
What's going on? Did that come up in conversation?
Later on this week,
exactly.
At some point this weekend, maybe after a couple of toddies. Hey, let me ask you about these pineapples. Why we always got pineapples around here? And throwing the pineapples out the window.
No, I'll be entirely too focused on football, so that's okay.
Are you going to the game this weekend?
I don't think I'm going to be in the stadium. I don't have tickets, so I'm not going to go, but I'm going to be around. Yeah, I'm going to hang out.
I mean, that's a big ticket. For the
Wait
game.
A minute. What?
To not be expected to be.
You're going to be out in the parking lot? I mean, what?
Tailgate. You got tailgate.
Yeah, tailgate. There's a bunch of bars. I mean, there's alumni stuff going on, so I can see some old friends. So
Is this a pretty big deal for Tennessee to play at Nissan? Does that happen with any regularity? I don't know.
Last time it happened, I think, was like 4 years ago in the Music City Bowl. They made the Music City Bowl.
Okay.
So they played then.
Okay. They played Bristol. They played in the Bristol Motor Speedway at one point, right? Did that not happen?
That happened pretty recently, I think.
I think so too. Like 2016, 2015, something.
I think they try and maneuver the schedule around where they can do that every now and then. Yeah.
Are they trying to create an out-of-conference rivalry with Virginia?
It seems like that, right? Because now we've done this twice.
Because I think when they played in the Bristol Motor Speedway, it was Tennessee, Virginia. I think. Because, that was the whole bid. That was right there on the line.
Rivalries sell tickets. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah, but Tennessee's going to skull drag Virginia by about 20 points at least.
I think the spread's 27 or 28. Yeah, I'm hoping we get to 30. Come on.
Oh, yeah. I want an undefeated and very enthusiastic Tennessee Volunteer team by November 18th.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm looking for.
Mark it down, baby.
Undefeated.
Let's go.
Let's go into Neyland Stadium.
No
I've
excuses.
I've never been.
Yeah, you're going, right?
Yes. Any amount, I shouldn't say this on the radio, any amount of money that it takes, I'm going.
Man, get that ticket soon. Seriously.
I'm kind of hoping that I got an inside track.
Yeah, that would be the way to do it.
That's what I'm hoping.
That'd be the way to do it.
I'm going to have to beat down Dan Mandis because it's my understanding Mandis wants to take over the inside track on the possibility of Tennessee-Georgia tickets. Because
Mandis is going to go to the game?
We work in a facility where we know people, right? Yada, yada, yada. Well, no, that's what I was told as well. You got to get behind your boy Dan Mandis. I'm like, what? When did he become a football fan?
Mandis purchased a stadium seat, and he's going to sit in that in front of the TV and hold his tickets because he doesn't actually want to leave the house, but he wants to feel like he's at the game.
Mandis is going into excuse me, seats down here, please.
What are you doing? He listens, right? I mean,
I love you, Dan. It's
all
all jokes.
Cougar Chow just threw out a Mandis impersonation that I don't think was very complimentary.
Probably not.
No, we need some scream. We need you screaming at the game, even if it's for the wrong team. I want it to be loud. So
no, it should. Well, I'm excited about it.
It's gonna be fun.
I mean, what about your Chiefs got holes this year? I hear. Did you hear what happened to Patrick Mahomes? Did you hear about that?
No. What happened? Please fill me in.
He finished off the preseason perfectly healthy.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, looked good.
Yeah, looking good. Going.
And that's it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole. That's the. I was just wondering if you heard.
No, yeah, I'm actually. I mean, to be completely honest, I have very bad vibes headed into the season as a Chiefs fan. So not feeling too good right now.
Hard to repeat, man.
Hard to repeat, and our best defensive player, top 5 defensive player in the league, is holding out from our team and probably won't play until week 8 because we're not paying him. We're not giving him the contract, and this is the last year on his deal. He wants to be paid, and he wants to gain as much money as he can, so he's going to hold out until week 8.
Who is it?
Chris Jones, defensive tackle, number 95.
Just doesn't feel like he's being respected on that side of the ball. I mean, there's a lot of money going into the offense, right? Obviously.
There is, but guys have made pay cuts. And, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Chris Jones played the most snaps of any defensive lineman last year. He led the team in sacks. He led interior defensive linemen in sacks, 15 and a half sacks.
Well, let him actually do something, and then he can have some money, Yeah. How do you not pay a guy like that?
I'd pay him. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you got salary cap consider. I mean, I think there's a lot more that goes into it than just giving him some
I'm sure
money.
there is, but at the same time, it's like the guys delivered the numbers.
Got to correct this. It was not Virginia.
Was it Tech?
It was Virginia Tech. Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of people are asking me to correct that.
Gotcha.
So my bad, our bad. Yeah, Virginia Tech. But it was still like a border rivalry type deal. But yeah, Tennessee. I mean, I think the team looks pretty good. I mean, now help me understand something. So Joe Milton is the quarterback, right?
Yep.
He got beat out by Hendon Hooker. Didn't he?
He got benched last year because he wasn't living up to what he was supposed to be. He beat out Hendon Hooker for the starting position.
Last year.
And
then he got benched, and then Hendon Hooker comes in, and it was just
boom.
Lights out. So, and I'm not asking this as a troll. Why the excitement for him? There's the feeling that with a year under his belt, with some mop-up duty, watching Hooker and learning the program, he's going to take it to the next level. Is that the idea?
Yeah, the innate ability and physical skills have always been there in spades. So that's been seen before he was at Tennessee. I believe it was West Virginia. No, Michigan. I can't remember. Same colors. I always mix that up. But either way, that was already known, and he just didn't really able to fit into a system, go through his reads, go through his progressions. Now you're thinking a year under Josh Heupel, one of the best offensive minds in college football,
Sure.
A Heisman finalist, and Hendon Hooker, or candidate really. And Hendon Hooker, you think, okay, well, this guy can throw at 80 yards. He's 6'4". He can run around. If he can just kind of hone in some accuracy stuff, this could be scary.
Well, take it from a Georgia Bulldog fan, right? It's all about the intangibles, and that's, I guess, what they're wanting to see.
That's what they're saying.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because Stetson Bennett did not have the arm ability of a Joe Milton. He did not have the physical ability, but he had that intangible that beat out the other question. So I get that. I understand that.
That's it.
From Steve, he says, well, before I tell you what Steve said.
Yeah.
What did I say when I first got here? College football, I am a
huge fan.
Georgia
Bulldog,
right?
Yeah.
When it comes to baseball, I'm a
Braves.
Atlanta Brave. And I said, now that I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, NFL,
Titan. You're a Titan.
Tennessee Titan. Steve
In
writes.
fact, you actively threw the Falcons into the trash.
Into the trash heap. And I will be at the Titans-Falcons game this year to
root for the Titans.
For the two-tone blue.
Come on.
And do the dirty bird down or whatever the hell we're going to do. I mean, dirty birds. Dirty, stinking, nasty, filthy birds. So Steve writes, Mac, why don't you come over to the dark side and adopt the two-tone blue as your new phase?
Sorry, Steve. No can do. Born and raised in KC. I mean, it's just I've been through the 2-14, 5-11 seasons to watch us get Patrick Mahomes and be on top of the league and just be, all right, guys, gonna go join the Titans.
Yeah, you suffer through the. Yeah. It's like becoming a Patriot this year.
Yeah, exactly.
right.
Yeah, I want to be a fan of the Pats. Come on, Mac Jones. Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good over here.
49 after, we have to take a break, and we're going to talk to Brian Wilson here in a moment. Do you not have a world record for us? It's okay if you don't.
I don't.
Number of touchdown passes in a.
God forbid you prepare for this segment.
I mean, we told you about it like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, seriously.
Did the woman, the hijab woman?
Oh, yeah, the job, yeah.
Do you know if it was covering her entire face? I mean, because some of them, as they've been described to me, just are the head coverings, and some are the full face cover. I'm curious if you could find that out for me.
I think the full face is called a nakib, and the
is it?
Okay.
Hijab.
That makes sense.
Okay, well, then that would make sense. So I understand what this woman is saying if it was just the head.
Yeah.
But if I know there was a Florida case where they were trying to cover the entire face.
Oh, well, and that's
that
what we
makes,
need
we can't identify it.
Come on. Yeah. I believe it was just the head.
Just the head? Okay, very good. All right. Thank you, Mac Moore.
Thank you.
There it is. There's Friday Mac Attack. We're going to turn it over to Friday Brian Attack in just a moment. Brian Wilson coming up to find out what's happening on the drive today. It's 2:50 on Super Talk. I'm not coming at this just all willy-nilly ad hoc, people. Defend Systems is a life safety and security consultation firm based right here in Middle Tennessee in Nashville, to be precise. They deal in active shooter and physical security expertise for a dangerously developing world. They will engage in active shooter response training, workplace violence prevention, site surveys and threat assessment, security improvement consultation, emergency and intruder action plans, and much, much more. And all of it is customized to your individual facility. The bottom line is this, friends. You don't know when something might happen in your workplace, in your school, in your church, or where people gather. Odds are it will never happen to you, thankfully. But as dangerous as the world has become around us, you never know. And the odds are not zero. That's why it's time to get trained. Hope is not a plan. Go to defendsystems.com. That's defendsystems.com or 236-6484, 236-6484 for Defend Systems. Super Talk 99.7 WTN 257, wrapping up another edition of the Matt Murphy Show, handing off to the drive with Brian Wilson, and we get a little preview over the next couple of minutes as to what Brian's got coming up for you. Brian Wilson, are you a fan of football? I don't know that I've ever asked you.
Well, I went to Permian High School, which is the Saturday Night Lights high school.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, Permian High School, the mighty, mighty Mojo of Odessa, Texas. I did not play. I was at like about maybe a little bit bigger than a broom handle at the time.
A very tall broom handle.
Yeah, they would have broken me like a stick. But I did go, and I do love football, and it's part of my tradition in my past. But I follow it loosely. But there's just one time I realized a long time ago that I only have so much RAM in my brain. and I have to focus on things that are related to my job. So, I love sitting down and watching a good game, but I don't, I'm not one of these people who rabidly follows it and has, a whole lot of statistics and stuff that I can throw out.
You're no Mac Morey.
He's to sports like I am to politics.
Oh, man, moth to a flame for Mac Morey.
Yeah.
Well, what's coming up on the drive this afternoon, my man?
Well, we're looking at the latest going on with Trump and all of his travails as he, continues to go forward. And he has said, hey, listen, if they try to come at us again with this whole COVID stuff, we will not comply. So we'll be asking the audience how they feel about that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because we are beginning to hear more talk about COVID, and I think, everybody needs to have a sort of a conversation with themselves about, well, if it turns into what it turned into before, how far are we willing to go? Because I have a feeling it's not near as far as we went the last time. So we'll have that conversation coming up here on The Drive.
There it is, Brian Wilson in The Drive coming up in mere moments after Mac Morey's newscast. And I am back a week from Monday. Pamela Furran for me tomorrow. Have a wonderful and safe Labor Day, and we will talk to you on the 11th. Until then, safe travels, folks. So long.